What's going on, everybody? My name is Mike. I'm the community manager for Simteract, and today we're going to be going over on how to play Taxi Life, a city driving simulator. This video is meant for all types of players, whether you're a beginner or an advanced player or even returning to the game. I'm sure you'll find some pieces of information that'll be helpful for your experience. So to start off, I really want to go over some of the settings that are very important when playing Taxi Life. Of course, you have your standard video settings that you could go over, and I wanted to point out that we have some interesting field of view settings that could depend on how you want your experience to be when playing Taxi Life, whether it's in third person or in first person. Going over the controller settings, I think this is another major important part before getting into the game actually. If you do have a steering wheel, definitely make sure that you have your device type selected as steering wheel, and go over some of the force feedback and custom setup settings that we have shown here. If you have the custom setup as off, you won't be able to personalize keybinds and other settings that you have for your steering wheel. However, if you do have it as on, then you'll be able to personalize almost everything regarding your steering wheel when it comes to keybinds, how your clutch works, and as well as additional devices such as clutch or your pedals. I would recommend having the custom setup as on and making sure that your steering wheel device is selected. If you don't want to mess with any of these keybinds, if you don't want to personalize anything like that, what you can do to make this easier for yourself is, if you have a steering wheel, you can simply select and choose a preset of your choice and it'll be done for you. So don't have to worry about that. I want to point out one major thing that sometimes people look over. That is to remember that in order for your shifter to work, you have to make sure that you have selected simulation or simulation plus clutch and the gearbox mode as manual in the garage if you want to play with your gearbox. So I think with that out of the way, we can get into the game. So after you complete the driving school, you'll be thrown into the game world where you'll be able to start doing your taxi driver missions. Now, before we get into those, I wanted to go over some of the icons that you'll see on the map. It might be a little overwhelming at first. It's really not that bad. So I'll go over each icon really quickly just to give you a brief. So these green little guys are your basic taxi job missions, and these guys are what you're going to want to go to and start making money. These grayed out guys mean that you don't have the required vehicle to do this mission. So as you can see, Jack Hughes needs an electric car with a big trunk. These little monuments on the map are basically landmarks that you could go to collect and sightsee. There's a lot of them spread across the map, so you can just go and collect them to gain experience. For the completionists out there, you can complete getting them all for the achievement. These trophy icons are special challenge missions that are unique in their own way. They do pay more, but again, they're more challenging. So try your luck. These question marks on the map are interesting pieces of street art. They work the same way as the monuments, and you can simply collect them by driving over to that area and pressing your action button. I think one of the most important icons on the map are the garage icons. You'll be visiting these garages very frequently, whether it's to buy new vehicles, rest, manage your company of employees, or simply upgrade your car. It's definitely one of the most important parts of the map. Going over, you have your speed cameras, which they basically do what they sound like. Speed past these cameras, you will get ticketed. Simple as that. These gas station icons are also important. You can use them to refuel your vehicle and maintain your vehicle for cleanliness. Definitely going to be one of the most visited parts of the map for you as well. If you purchase our delivery driver DLC, you'll see these warehouse icons that will unlock upon purchasing. And basically, these are facilities of warehouses that you could visit to deliver packages. And we'll go over that later in the video, but for now, we'll just leave it at that. You'll see these icons on the map. These are tourists that require a city guide to be shown around the map, and that's you. And they have a specific set of challenges for the player when you visit them. And I think that's about it for now for the icons. Another interesting aspect to go over is the radial menu, as it allows you to do a lot of quick actions. So if we go to these emergency actions, you'll be able to do things like call the police, do a quick fix on your vehicle, do a quick recharge if your vehicle's electric. You can get towed to the gas station or towed to the garage or return the car to the road, for example, if you flip over by going too fast. Sometimes getting stuck in traffic sucks. and you want to just get to your destination as fast as possible. So one thing to remember is that you could call the police that'll assist to restore the traffic flow. So as you can see here, once you click it, the cars disappear and you can just continue. However, if you want a more immersive experience, you could do all these things within the cabin of the vehicle as well. So over here you have your map view. If you have the new DLC vehicle, you can open up the roof as well, turn the radio on, and put the windows down, whether they're front, back. You can also adjust the windshield wipers. So if you get a bug on your windshield, you can wipe them off, or put on the AC as well if a client requests it. There's also a parking sensor and a parking brake. Got the handbrake right here, and we have the rear camera as well, and we also have the collision detection. So if you're backing up, it'll start beeping to let you know if you're close to an object. Of course, the horn as well. You can adjust some of the visors, turn on the lamps, the interior lights of the vehicle, and that's about it. You could look around. You have passengers in the back. You can stare at them aggressively. Now that we got that out of the way, we can enter the garage. Let's go. So upon entering the garage, you'll see a bunch of options that you can mess around with. So in this vehicle, the Caesarion, you could charge it. If you have a normal mechanical car, this will be refuel. You could repair it, wash it, repair the brakes, repair the engine, and repair the body. You could do a full repair by clicking a button, or single repair by simply clicking the button that's bound on the bottom. These are the vehicles that you'll have in the game, but when you first start off, you'll have them locked. So play the game and level up. Over here, you can adjust the parts for your vehicle. So the engine, brakes, tires. You can customize the interior and exterior as well, whether that's different paint jobs. I think we can leave that for now. LEDs on the bottom of your car, rims, spoilers, taxi sign, of course, and so on. I mentioned earlier about resting. Here you could also rest. So if you did all the missions on the map and you have nothing else to do, you can go back into the garage, rest for a few hours, and then the mission points should reset. You also have your progression perks tree. If you go over to the driver's tab, over here, you'll be able to upgrade your gameplay by adding points into your perks tree, and you'll gain perks by simply leveling up. There's a lot of perks that will help you improve your gameplay, whether it's getting fined less for a ticket, the rate of fuel decreasing when you drive, or gaining more XP. You'll find something for everyone here. You can also go over your statistics, see how far you've driven, how many employees you've hired, and it gives you a good sense overall of how much you've played the game. I think another most important part that players tend to skip in Taxi Life is the company management, and we'll go over that right now. So the company management in Taxi Life earns you money, and you earn money by hiring employees. So if we go to the management tab, when you go to the company tab here, you can give your company a name, select a logo, as well as some colors, as well as assign vehicles to employees. Now you can hire or fire employees based on your own preferences. You can auto-assign empty cars to make it easier, or you can change the sorting how you please. So for example, let's hire an employee. If you go to the employees tab, you'll have a list of employees that you could pick and choose from. They all have pros and cons to hiring them, so you can read the description and see what suits you best. So these two guys I hired, I'm gonna fire them. I think she's not making me enough money, and I'm gonna hire David. He's gonna make me more money, I think. So if we go back, we have 4 empty vehicles, and we just hired an employee. What we could do is we could assign David the Sedna and select him a district to which he could drive in. Now keep in mind, some districts earn more money than others, so play around with it and see what works best. We'll go to this one, and then we'll select the time for him to drive in. 6 p.m. sounds good. People getting off work need to go places. Now David's assigned. Keep in mind, in order for your employees to make money, you have to play the game. So you can't just hire employees, assign them cars, and turn the game off. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. You have to play the game. As you're driving the vehicle, they are invisibly driving within the game as well. You can't see them on the streets, unfortunately. Maybe we'll add that sometime in the future. But for now, you can earn passive income by simply hiring these employees and having them earn money for you. And you can see all your finances, your profits, your costs, the amount of drivers and the amount of cars you have in the finance screen right here. And in the help screen, you can have some basic tooltips, basic information on what things do within the game. So now that we have the garage covered and we changed our vehicle a little bit, I think it's time to do some missions. So let's do a normal taxi mission. We're gonna go into our map. We're gonna select the green guy, and we're gonna drive to him to accept the mission. Hey guys, this is post-production Mike. With the new and recent update to Taxi Life, you no longer have to select the icon on the map in order to start a fare. Now, you can start fares by simply rolling up to the icon from the street and starting it that way. Now that we've arrived at our destination, we picked up our passenger. I'm gonna take him to his destination. Keep in mind, follow the rules of the road, don't speed, and don't crash the car. This is what taxi life is all about. Don't hit pedestrians either, or you'll get heavily fined. As you're driving, you'll notice that you have a patience bar underneath the minimap. Depending on how you drive will determine on how fast this patience bar drops. So if you're driving recklessly, constantly bumping into things or speeding, the patience bar will go down. And this is not good because you'll fail the mission and you'll leave one unhappy customer. That's why it's important to follow the rules of the road in taxi life. Once you bring your passenger to his destination, you'll complete the task. You'll get a little detailed screen showing how you did. In my case, I didn't do that good. Even though it was an easy mission, I didn't earn any tips, and I got a 2-star rating. The safer you drive, the more bonus XP you'll get, and the more tips you'll get. So now I want to go over some of the DLC content that we have in the game. If you don't have the DLC purchased, then you don't have to worry about it. So let's go over to our map and select the destination. You'll notice some new icons popped up here, and these are interesting for you too. These are important because there's random events that spawn around the map that'll hinder your ability to go through certain streets. So for example, we have a small accident ahead of us here and we won't be able to make a left on this street, or if we will be able to, the street will be narrowed and there'll be traffic. So if you're trying to take a passenger to his destination, you really want to avoid these. There's also parades and other random events that happen throughout the map, so make sure you pay attention to where you're driving in order to get the best bonus and tip possible. So since we want to do some of the DLC content, I want to go over to the warehouse icon that we have here. This is the closest one. So I'll do a little U-turn and we'll see you there. So we've arrived at the warehouse, and it turns out this is a food warehouse. Certain warehouse missions give you more money than others, so make sure you pick the one that suits you best. Let me just get into this marker here. So when entering the warehouse, you'll be faced with a similar map that you have as the normal map. However, there's new icons that showed up, and they're in the shape of a package. And as you can probably imagine, these are the amount of packages that you could take per location. Depending on the vehicle that you have will determine the amount of packages that you could take. So for example, in the new DLC vehicle, the Caesarian, I can only take 3 packages, as represented in the 3 white boxes on the lower right hand side of the screen. So in that case, what I'll do is I'll just do 1 package mission that's very close. So I get the packages from the warehouse by clicking on them, and as you can see, they turned green, meaning my car is filled up now. So once I selected it, I'm gonna exit. I'm gonna go into my first person view to see if the packages are there, and yes, they are. Somebody ordered some burgers. I guess they're hungry. Well, let's go deliver it to them. I wanted to mention that when you're delivering packages, they also take durability damage. So if you're driving recklessly, bumping into things, or just doing things mindlessly, the packages will lose their durability. And you'll notice this by the package icons under the minimap. They change color. So when you start off, they're green. But if you start bumping into things and driving recklessly, they'll soon change color to red. And eventually you'll fail the package mission. So you want to drive as safe as possible to avoid damaging the packages. And you can also check the durability of the packages by scrolling over them with your mouse or gamepad. When finishing a package delivery job, you'll be faced with a similar ending screen showing you your bonuses, the amount of stars you earned, the amount of money, as well as your delivery bonus as well as your fragile delivery bonus. So this is why I mentioned to keep your packages damage free. Now that we delivered some packages, I wanted to go over the VIP city guide. And as I mentioned before, it's going to be these icons right here with the little camera and the little dude next to it. So let's go. We've arrived at our destination and we're going to pick up our first tourist. So the first thing you'll notice is that you have now 2 bars under the minimap.
This awful bug from the window.
Hold on, this guy wants me to remove the bug from the window. We'll do that by the windshield wipers. There you go. Happy now? So, as I was saying, you'll notice that you now have two bars under the minimap. One is still your patience bar, and the other is the interest bar. And you just notice that it's going down gradually, and this is because we have to keep the passenger entertained or keep his interest up. You'll notice on the top of the minimap there's requested landmarks. Now these are landmarks that the passenger has requested himself personally, and you won't be able to end the mission before you visit these landmarks. So let's check out our main map here. You'll notice some things have changed since we started the mission. So there's some purple camera icons, which these are general points of interest that you could pass along the way to the main points of interest in order to keep the passenger's interest up. You'll see the main points of interest are highlighted in sort of this purple color, and these are the main points of interest that you have to visit before finishing the mission. Otherwise, you won't be able to. You see the point where you'll be able to finish the mission, but like I said, until you visit the main points of interest, you won't be able to end it. So along the way, in order to get a nice bonus and to keep your passenger interested, it's good to visit these basic points of interest while completing the main points of interest. Then you can complete the mission. So now we're going to go along the way, and we're going to go to the main point of interest because I see it's very close here. Now keep in mind, you have to balance the customer's patience as well as his interest. If one goes down, you fail the mission. You're also on a timer. So as you can see, the tour ends in about 1 in-game hour. If this timer goes over, then you won't fail the mission, but you'll get a deduction. And you could showcase the point of interest to the passenger by simply going to that and pressing the action button. And you'll notice their interest shoots up. This is one of the main points of interest. And now we'll go to the second one. We can show him one in the meantime to get his interest more up, and now it's full, so we're pretty good on that front. Let's see where the other point is. Mark it on our maps to make it easier. You can show him more points of interest along the way. Now he's very interested.
Can you slow down, please?
Sorry, I was driving a little too fast there. Now we have another main point of interest for our passenger here. And now we're ready to complete the mission. So we'll just go around the roundabout and head to our destination. Passengers might have requests like turning on the air conditioning or putting the window down. So it's in your best interest, in order for you to get a nice tip, to be good customer service and do what the passenger asks. Sometimes they might engage in a conversation with you.
I'm so grateful for taxis. My legs are extremely sore.
And it's up to you on how you want to lead this conversation. You can be mean or you could be nice. Depends on what you want. Let's be mean.
Yeah, maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to walk around the city.
I can't believe you just said that.
He doesn't like that answer. All right, I'm sorry.
Sorry, that was a rude thing to say. It's been a long day, and I'm tired too.
It's all right. I understand. We all have bad days.
Indeed we do. But today's not a bad day. Today's a good day because we're playing Taxi Life. We're about to finish the mission after a good conversation with a happy passenger.
Tip for that ride.
Showed him around the city and we're good to go. Made some money and now we're on to the next task. Got some good stars. That's what I like to see. And that's about it, folks. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you learned something today, and yeah, I'll see you around next time. We got more coming for Taxi Life, so stay tuned. Thanks.